All right, can they tell I'm not wearing pants? All right, friends, it's Chops, and welcome to the Dragonflight Alpha. That's right, I got Alpha access. I'm very excited. Are you very excited? I'm very excited. I'm also out in Legion instead of Dragonflight because we're level 20 twinks, and this is what we do. Um, I have spent the past couple of nights leveling new characters because there's no character copy on the Alpha access yet. So if we want to know anything about 20s, we have to level new characters. Last night I leveled a warrior, of course, and a druid. Tonight I'm leveling a hunter. I know, scum class. I'll explain it in a second. And that way we can get a better idea of what to expect at level 20. One of the things we were really curious about was the baseline skills. So they released all these fancy new talent trees. Behold, fancy new talent trees. And with them, they released a list of spells and abilities that they considered baseline that you would get while you leveled that weren't part of your tree. But they didn't tell us what level we got those skills at. So there's been a lot of sort of like guesswork and people insisting that like, well, this is definitely a level 10 type of baseline spell. Or people trying to like read tea leaves for, the exact wording that a guy used in an interview where he was given like 15 interviews in a day to various content creators. None of that was, very useful information. So the first thing I did when I got into the alpha was create one of each class that got a talent tree update. And I took a picture of their spell book and posted that screenshot on a thread on XP Off. I'll link that in the description below. So if you're curious about what level a certain class gets a certain baseline skill, as long as they've had a talent tree released, you can find that information in that thread, and I'll keep it up to date as new talent trees get released. The reason I didn't include classes that hadn't had a talent tree release yet is that their spells, like for instance my warrior spell book, is just a mess, right? Like it's a disaster. It's got like every variation and like old variations and new variations of spells and like different like gradients of the spell with different modifiers, and like some have no level requirements, some have 2 level requirements. It's obviously like a work in progress, so it doesn't really tell us anything, right? So I didn't bother, and I figure like we'll learn those things when they release the talent trees. Another thing we were very curious about, and the reason I'm on Scum class like I am, is PvP talents, which we don't get access to until we're level 20. So I've got a level to 20. Druid PvP talents remain unchanged, but some hunter PvP talents, like for instance Scattershot here, ended up in the talent tree. So we want to know how Blizzard handled that. Did they just take Scattershot away? Is it still for some reason in the PvP talent tree? Did they replace it with anything? Are there new talents for PvP talents? That's what we want to know. So I've got to get to 20 to figure that out. And then, kind of give us an idea of how they're handling that. I suspect they're just pulling them out of the PvP talents and won't be replacing them with anything. That's sort of my gut. But, we don't know. So we're going to find out. There isn't much else to report for 20s. There is an obvious push in this alpha to just concentrate on the features that are coming with Dragonflight. So the new race, the new class, the new zones, the new dungeons, the Dragonflight flying system and all that. The rest of the game is pretty much Shadowlands. Like it remains untouched. Like they had said that they were going to rescale every expansion to be 10 through 60 so that you could level to 60 through whatever expansion you wanted. And Broken Isles are capped at level 45. I was out in Warlords earlier. It's capped at level 40 still. Pandaria is still capped at level 35. So like they obviously have not revisited the old world yet. This alpha access is exclusively for these new features, and they've only changed things in the old world that are needed to change for these features to work and be viable. You know, like the new professions and all that good stuff. So we really don't know much, if anything, about sort of what's going to change for 20s so far. Though there is something I did notice that I think is worth sharing, and that is that Legion artifact weapons have had their relic slots completely removed. I think Blizzard just didn't want to deal with it after the 20s bracket. Definitely not me. Don't say it was me. Engaged in a lot of clever use of game mechanics to get really high eye level artifact weapons, and they just decided, you know what, we're not going to deal with. You know, they put a kind of a band-aid fix on it on live, and then I think they just decided with the new expansion that they just weren't going to deal with it at all, and so relic slots are just gone, which bodes well for borrowed power systems of every type, right? Like, we probably aren't going to see Azerite traits at all. We're probably, or at least they're going to be completely like removed, except in maybe like one certain circumstance or something. I don't know. It seems like they're kind of over it and done with it, which is fine and good. Where am I supposed to go? I don't know yet. Which is very good. That's a good thing. I also went and started checking like gems and enchants to see like how they scaled and if that scaling was any different now. And then it occurred to me that I probably really shouldn't. I should wait for them to go back and start touching the old world stuff and messing with it before I went and checked like all the scaling. Because if they haven't looked at all of that, they probably haven't looked at the old gems. You know, there's some concern that the gems are going to go from 2-2 to 1-1. There's some concern that a lot of the enchants are going to get nerfed and that kind of thing, which we're just not going to know for a while, and I don't think bears testing for a while, so I'm going to kind of let that sit. But that is on my list. Other things that are on my list to test are, other things that are on my list to test is going to be, any new zones or anything like that. Obviously, we're going to check, but what level we need to be for gear drops, right? Because it's possible that changes. Like right now, we need to be character level 24 to get requires level 19, item level 28, BOE gear with like sockets and stuff. You know, you have to farm that on a 24. Is that going to change, right? It could change to 21. It could change to 22. That gear itself could change, so we're going to want to know that as early as possible. But again, we're also not going to know because there's no character copy. We're not going to know if that's grandfathered or nerfed. So like our existing eye level 28 is going to be left alone if they change. Are they going to be taken away if it changes? That kind of thing. Because there is some speculation that the eye level 28 thing is a bug. See, look, just nothing there. Just gone. Anyways, there is some speculation that that's a bug anyway, and that bug may be resolved in Dragonflight. So a thing I want to test. I also want to test like what level you need to be for dungeon drops. I'm going to test Legion dungeon drops proccing sockets because that may start happening. So I've got a lot of things to look at, but a lot of that stuff, it's going to be down the line in alpha. It's going to be way down the line. But that's to kind of give you an idea of where we're at in alpha, what we're looking at, sort of what like I'm looking at in terms of testing on 20s. But yeah, it's very cool. It's very exciting. I'm glad to be in alpha. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. But I do want to say, like, a lot of the world has just been, it's untouched. It's basically Shadowlands with like the Dragonflight features tacked on. So there's just simply a lot of stuff that I couldn't tell you for sure. Like if you had a question like, is Cudgel of Gnarlax still a 3.6 swing speed one-handed mace? I could go get one and find it, and it would be probably still 3.6, but they haven't rescaled everything yet, so maybe that hasn't been revisited. So I don't know, you know. But regardless, if you have a question, ask. I'll either go find out for you in the alpha, or I'll answer it as best I can in another video, in the comments, whatever kind of works best. But that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for hanging out for the whole time. I do really mean that. That is the metric I am most concerned with. I don't care about likes. I don't care about comments. I like that you've watched the whole video. That makes me feel good. That really helps the channel out a lot. And so really, honestly and truly, thanks for getting to the end. I'll talk to you guys next time.